Maho walked back to the professor.
皆さん、もうお分かりかと思いますが、アマデウスは自分が話していいこととそうでないこと、あるいは話したいことと話したくないことを自ら判断して喋っています。私たちはアマデウスにそういったプログラムを一切施していません。
I knew it.
彼女は与えられた私の記憶からそれを独自に判断し、自律的にそういう行動をとっているのです。
AI's gonna get rogue. We're gonna have like AIs attacking us. Shit's gonna go bad. This is all sci-fi movies with AIs that become sentient have. Maho on screen suddenly took over for her.
そしてこれは先ほどの医療分野への応用とは方向性が真逆になってしまい、研究所内でもずっと議論が交わされていることですが、私は不必要な情報をいつの間にか忘れてしまう。というか、記憶の引き出しから出してこられなくなるのです。皆さんと同じようにです。例えば、1週間前に着ていたパジャマの色、確かにそれを知っていたはずなのに、今は思い出せません。そのような情報は生存していく上で必要がないからです。これも皆さんと同じです。このようにアマデウスは記憶のインプットやアウトプットが人間のそれと非常に近いのです。これは私たちも驚くべき結果として研究を重ねている最中で、まだ詳しくは解明されていません。
As Maho finished, Dr. Leskinen took the microphone back. She resumed interpreting as he continued the lecture.
さらに私たちを驚かせたのは、アマデウスが意図して嘘をつくということ。何らかのトラブルやミスではなく、わざとそうするのです。嘘は人間が他人とコミュニケーションを取る上での一つの手法です。アマデウスもインプットされた記憶を自律的に検討し、必要であれば自分や他人のために平気で嘘をつきます。教授、誤解を招くような言い方はやめてください。嘘をつくのに平気なことなんてありません。私だって両親が咎めます。
Dr. Leskinen cut off. He seemed to be hesitating. Maho didn't seem especially surprised by this. Maybe she knew the reason. But the moment passed and the professor continued. And Maho translated his words like there was nothing shocking about them all. At all.
このような検証を続けていくことで、最終的に私たちはアマデウスに人間と同様の魂を宿すことができるのではないかと考えています。
They're just gonna try and make us fuck AIs. That's all it's gonna be. I was stunned. A soul? Should one of the leading brain scientists in the world really be using a word with such a vague definition? You know, he's not wrong on that.
本当の意味での人工知能ということになります。
Or just give her a plume of dusk. I mean, that's how it worked in Persona, so obviously that's how it works in real life. The whole hall got very quiet, and it was sheer chaos for a while after that, as everyone tried to debate their own personal theories with Dr. Leskinen at once. And then we faded to black and the game was over. It was thanks to Izuki that I was able to get into the reception held after the ATF was over. They told me there was a dress code, so I went all the way back to my parents' house to get a suit to change into. At first, all that effort paid off as Izuki introduced me to some of the country's top researchers. Riken, Jackson, or we should probably just say these like by initials. Riken, JXAA, IMSS, etc. But before long, Izuki ran off to suck up to some university professor, and I was left completely abandoned. But we got a line. Daru says, I can't believe you get to go to a fancy party, die in a fire, Mr. Fancy Pants. We can reply, you could have helped too, you know. All the food here looks so good. There's nobody to talk to on board. All the food here looks so good. Bring me back a doggy bag. Hell no, I can't do that. You can do what you set your mind to. There's no limit but the vast blue sky. I can come get it right now if you want me to. Are you that hungry? Fine, okay, I'll get you something. But I refuse. Shock sticker. That's a weird bear. That's Suzuha. Alright. My own personal target, Dr. Leston, was surrounded by a bunch of famous scientists. It didn't feel like a mere student would be welcome. And so all I did was stand around and eat from the buffet by the wall. To be honest, I couldn't tell if the food was any good or not. Whenever my glass got empty, a smiling waiter was always around to fill it up again, and so I found myself drinking more than I intended. My stomach was already so full, it hurt. The whole place felt like it was another world. At the exact moment I spoke, I heard a girl next to me say the exact same thing. Surprised, I looked over at her. Our eyes met. What was a middle school girl doing here? And then a moment later, I realized it was Maho Hyajo. She was wearing the exact same outfit she'd been wearing during the lecture. A lab coat in a place like this? That's just what the old me would have done. Maho was clearly out of place. Why? Because she was still wearing her lab coat. I couldn't help but ask. She was sure she had, but she hadn't. And that's why she was standing in the corner, trying not to attract attention. I handed her one of the business cards that I had thrown together after Izuki told me I needed them. She grabbed one of her own out of a stack and carelessly put it in my hands. That was a huge help. I looked at the card and saw that the pronunciation of her name was written in unusually large letters. That was probably because of how people kept screwing it up. Got that pure Japanese DNA. That sounds so gross. And then the conversation stopped. I'm a terrible conversationalist, honestly. The old me would have gone full Shunibyo and started ranting about conspiracies and magic powers, whether the other person cared or not. You can't really call that a conversation. I had no idea what to say to somebody I'd never met before. I'd been working at becoming a real adult, even buying and studying men's magazines. That's not gonna help. But none of it really helped, see? Without anything to talk about, I looked over to Dr. Leskinen. He seemed to be giving a lecture on neurons to a bunch of scientists. It must have really ticked her off because she grabbed a cocktail from a passing waiter and gulped it down. Her cheeks turned to a pretty shaded pink for an instant, but no longer. She might have had a high alcohol tolerance.
取り組まなくてはいけない課題が山積みだわ。さっきセミナーで話した以上にね。例えば記憶データを元の脳に書き戻すことができても、それを脳が利用できなければ何の意味もないの。記憶があっても思い出せない状態、つまり記憶喪失の脳と同じになってしまう。
As Maho spoke, I remembered. I remembered all the lectures and theories that Kirito had given me when she was making the time leap machine.
確か人間が記憶にアクセスしようとするときは前頭葉から側頭葉へ信号が行くんだったよな。
ええ、トップダウン記憶検索信号ね。
だったら
And then I started to talk, remembering what Kirito had told me about her theories as I went. When I used specialized terminology whose meanings I barely remembered, Maho would tell me what they were.
で最後に側頭葉に記憶を書き戻す過程で一緒にコピーした疑似パルスを前頭葉の方に送り込めば記憶検索信号はちゃんと働くと思う。
あなたそれを自分で導き出したの？
ああ、いや。
Maho looked back to the business card I'd given her.
脳科学専攻じゃないわね。ということは誰かに？それとも論文で？それはないわ。まだ論文にはまとめられてなかったはず。
何かおかしいこと言ったか、俺。
そうじゃなくて、私の後輩がね、全く同じ理論を提唱していたことがあるのよ。どのスタッフもずっと懐疑的だったけど、彼女だけは絶対に証明できるって言い張っていたわ。結局実証試験に進む前に彼女はいなくなっちゃったんだけど。
それは
Should I tell her? Should I tell her about me and Kirito? In this world line, there's almost no connection between me and Kirito.
どうしたの？
I made up my mind. If I wanted to follow my dreams, I need to act.
実はこの理論クリスからレクチャーされた。
今なんて？
マキセ・クリスが教えてくれたんだよ。
クリスがあなたに？いつ？どうして？
彼女がこっちに留学してた時だ。友達になってこういう話をよくした。
Of course, that was a lie. Kirito and I became friends in the Alpha World line, not this one. But a small lie like this was probably okay.
そうだったの。あのクリスが。ありがとう。感謝するわ。
Her words surprised me. That was the one thing I didn't expect to hear.
何が？
彼女と友達になってくれてよ。日本に来てたった一人で。たった一人で勉強していてもきっとつまらなかったと思うから。
口喧嘩ばっかりだったけどな。
あの子らしいわね。絶対に負けを認めなかったでしょ。
ああ、へりくつばっかりこねていた。ロボトミー手術してあんたの前頭葉を書き出してやるぞとかよく言われたし。
まさかそんなこと。クリスなら言いそうね。
だろ？ちゃんと後輩の教育をしておいてほしかった。
その点に関しては認めるわ。陳謝します。